All right, everybody, welcome to the People, Purpose, and Profits Business Coaching Podcast. My name is Brian Buck, and my wonderful co-host is...
And I'm Kat.
And we are so excited to welcome Casey to our show. Casey, do you want to go ahead and do a quick introduction of yourself and where you're from?
Sure. Thank you. Really appreciate you both having me on your show. I'm excited to be here. So I reside in Cypress, Texas. It's a suburb of Houston, Texas. Born and raised in this area. Had a couple years off in San Antonio and then back to Houston again. So been here. I guess I love the heat and the humidity of August. But grew up in an entrepreneur family. Went to college because I saw how much time they spent working on their business and they could never turn it off. So I decided I was going to go a different route down the corporate America path, and realized a little bit later that there's somewhere in between where you can actually have your own business and not have the business own you. So that appealed to me while I've been in corporate America. While in corporate America, I am actually a director of a $3 billion IT services company on the IT side. So I'm a project manager type mindset. That's what I've been doing for 20 plus years. And then the entrepreneur bug, when it's in your DNA, you might as well just accept it. So I've been doing quite a few things on that front as well. We had our own traditional business, real estate, and then we've got a pretty special company that we partner with that's really doing some amazing things. So that's definitely where my passion's at. So yeah, it's exciting. Cool. Definitely exciting.
Do you do agile stuff?
Yes. Yep. Do agile, waterfall, the whole gamut. Yes.
Yeah. I come from the world of lean Toyota production system, so we got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
I think I'll just take the back seat and kind of like what you said.
But we do want to kick off. So our show is about people and purpose and profits and all three of those. Can you share a little bit to you, both maybe in your corporate job and your entrepreneurial journey, or both? Because it's hard to separate them. Yeah. But like, what does that mean to you, and how does it show up for you in your life? And is there any current in your season, maybe one is a stronger pull than the other right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's funny how, things unfold in your life and things just start popping up out of nowhere. I've definitely been, just with my background in the IT and the process thing, I'm a process guy. I mean, it's like a beautiful mind type thing where things just kind of make sense and all connect together. And everybody else looks at that and go, how do you do that? And I'm like, the same way that you go make that creative, pretty flyer and presentation that I have zero interest in doing, this is my thing, right? So I've really been a process guy. I see how I can make things better, faster, cheaper, more effective. And that's just been one of those gifts that I've got that's really helped me in my my regular 9-to-5 career, or I should probably say my 7-to-7 career. And then I took that and I applied that into, where my passion's at with this company. It's a health and wellness organization that we put together. And I built a process for that, followed what everybody else was doing, saw it's like, okay, that's cute and adorable, but I want to do this, this, and this. And then I can actually implement those things. But what I found is if you don't have the people part figured out to go along with that culture, making sure that people have that feeling, that sense of belonging to an organization, it doesn't matter how amazing, perfectly automated, literally push a button and everything works. It doesn't matter how great all of that is if you don't have the people side. And so I have been diving in for the last probably 6 months of, you get something fixed and then you go, okay, what's the next thing? This is the next thing that's, in my journey. And so, yeah, people is very, very huge to me right now. Tapping into where people's core values are, understanding the language that they have, which then impacts the behaviors that they have. And then how do you take that and you fashion that together so that everybody feels a part of it, but yet not where you get bogged down and you can't move the organization. So it's a wonderful puzzle that I'm currently in the middle of trying to put all the pieces together, and they're starting to connect a little bit right now. And it's a lot of fun. It's pretty darn exciting.
It reminds me of a joke on IT project management would be easy if it wasn't for people.
Yes.
Right.
So I think that might be a Dilbert one, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I know. I might have had that one hanging up in my office. So.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I share a passion, and I know Kat does too, and this is actually a Tony Robbins quote. It's, success is 20% strategy and 80% psychology. And to me, I think that 80% psychology is the fact that humans and people, we are predictably irrational people. And understanding and navigating that, once you learn how to do that through communication and presence, and like you said, with the values, then it becomes a lot easier. But it's never easy. It's always easier, but never easy.
Yeah, look, it's, if all the games were played on paper, it'd be really simple. But then these darn human beings show up, and for the analytical types, which I definitely have that on my on my shoulders, is you look at it as like, how can I make this a process thing, and then I'll just abstract all the human stuff out of it and just go logical part of it, and it's great to have that. You have to have that too. But like you said, that human side of it, it's got to, if they don't feel it, it doesn't matter, because they'll never get to the next step.
Yeah.
And it's the whole energy of the business. I do find that, that's where the heart of the businesses are, the people. And I'm really curious to find out, because we had a episode not too long ago where we talked about strength and weaknesses. And you said that yours is one. What about the other side of it? What do you do in that case where you find that certain things are not your strengths? Where do you go to find help with it, or do you try to get better at it? Like, what is your strategy about that?
I like that. It's a great question, and one that I think about often, and to share with my leaders as well, is that John Maxwell's got a really good point that I'll paraphrase, but it's basically, if everybody's on a scale of 1 to 10, and if you're an 8, going from an 8 to a 9, you can change the world. But if you're a 3, going to a 4 really isn't going to probably make that big of a difference to humanity, right? So just my words overlaid on his thought. But one of the things, if I don't know something, it doesn't mean it's not a strength. It just means that maybe I didn't even know about it. I didn't have the label for it. I didn't think of it that way. And so for me, where this hasn't been a strength because I haven't done it yet, I've done it a little bit, but nothing like what I need to do. A book, simply some extra knowledge that was just like, it's like the movie The Sixth Sense. At the end, it's like, oh my gosh. And I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but at the end, there's a big revelation. And it's like, you replay everything that came up to that point. It's like, how did I not see that? And that's what this has been for me, is just, this is so freaking obvious. I'll slap myself a couple times, but very few people get this concept, and everybody can talk about it in some fashion. So learning about it and then identify and say, I can do this. And then there's other sides where I'll go back to the marketing side. I'm just it's not that I'm not good at it. I just don't want to be. It's just not something that I wake up in the morning and say, I can't wait to go do that. Right. I don't have the passion for that part. And if I don't have that passion, then why am I going to try to take myself from a 1 to a 2? Right. So when that happens, how do I get about that? I go find, who do I know in my organization? Who do I know in my sphere of influence that I can go out and say, hey, do we have any flute players? I don't know if I need a flute player, but if we have any, I bet you there's somebody in here. And like, oh, he asked me about flute playing. I'm a great and I'm like, sweet, you need to talk to this person, and then y'all go do your thing. And then, the organization is improved. I didn't have to sit there and beat my head against the wall and try to make a weakness into mediocrity. So
love it. So what I hear from you basically saying is, first you have to discover like what you don't know. Then you have to see if you have a passion for it. And if you decide that you don't, then find someone else to delegate. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. Outsource, delegate. Because if you can't find anybody in your group, then there is somebody on planet Earth, Fiverr.com. I'm going to do a plug for them.
They're great.
Greatest thing ever, right? Anything that you don't know how to do, somebody on the planet will be happy to do that for you.
Have you ever heard of Dan Sullivan's Who Not How?
I don't know if I've run across that one.
Yeah, so it's very much kind of in the lines that we talk, but to me, I like it because it's just an easy framework to talk about. But the idea is, especially as entrepreneurs, is how often do we try to figure out the how and learn? Yes. But what we really need to do is get a who, hire a who, get it done. Like I just was with the mastermind yesterday, and we were talking about, I launched something last summer, and it literally took me 2 weeks to try to figure out and not figure out a simple technology thing. I paid $50 and it was solved in 15 minutes. And one of my colleagues said, and you wasted 2 weeks of your life. Because I was trying to say I lost 2 weeks of revenue, because I always like to put in, every day you're not launched, figure out how much money you're losing daily. But also just think about your time and energy, man, when you lose it. So I love how you just said, I'm not going to learn who's my flute.
Yes.
We could come up with a t-shirt, who's my flute.
That's awesome.
Oh, that there's a business getting built right here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
I want to ask you, Casey, the next part of our podcast is purpose. And I heard you talk about passion. Would you say that the two are the same, or is there a little variable in it? Or how would you tell?
My first gut reaction is that, there's probably some variations, but those two words are really, really attached at the hip if they're not, one and the same, just wearing a different shirt. But because the way I look at purpose is when I wake up, it's like the operating system, right? It's like the first thing that needs to happen. You've got a sense of purpose of why am I getting up today? It wasn't to go brush my teeth. It wasn't to, put on a shirt. It was to do this thing. And what is that for the day? And that's what gets people out of bed, right? Literally. And then my passion, maybe I'm seeing a little light between these two. Passion could be the thing that you just love and got to do. Purpose might be something that you might not be completely jazzed about going and doing, but your purpose of what you need to go fulfill is to go get that done. So maybe there's a little gap in there. But I would definitely say, my first reaction of purpose is it goes right there with passion, your why, what is, what awakens your soul, why do you get up and go do what you do? So, I guess that's what I would say about those two words.
And I'm loving it. And I find it that people, as soon as they do find the purpose, sometimes, the passion comes a little bit later because they haven't, like you said, is that discovery process of where do I fit and how do I fit what I already know or what I've been through, and kind of tie it in together and create a story that's so powerful that it pulls you. Yeah. So, I think it's a combination of things, but one of the best things that I've heard when it comes to purpose is where is your joy, because if you get joy out of it, that's definitely a great sign, if not the sign, to know that you're headed towards your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a phrase we use is figure out your why. It's the thing that makes you cry, right? It's the thing that gets you just like emotional. And that's truly, I think, what it is the emotion side of it is we are emotional human beings. That's just what we are. And we like to think we're like, out of Star Trek and we're Spock and we're all, or Data and we're just, pure logic and there's nothing further from the truth. In my opinion, we are 100% emotional beings. And then we try to make sense of the chaos with logic and try to fit it into some model that we can find our little path so that we don't go insane with all the other stuff going on around us, complete chaos. And being able to find that. And like you said, if you figure out your joy or the thing that's like, ooh, that just appeals to me, you've got so much inertia going on because you've been going down a certain path for a while. Sometimes it takes a little bit to slow that train down, get off that one, jump on another track, and then start that one up. And sometimes that is not an easy thing. And a lot of times people, when they are drawn to that, and I truly believe it's your soul calling you to go do that thing that you desire and define that you want to be about who you are. When you're doing that and you run into some obstacles or you can't get this train out of the train station because you've been cruising along and now all of a sudden this one just won't freaking move, WD-40 and a tractor and everything else is still not moving. And it's like, well, maybe this isn't for me. And that's, all the programming and all the logic part where you look at it and you try to think, everybody's telling you, it's like, you got a good job. Why are you leaving that to go do this? Are you crazy? People would kill for it's like, well, that's great for them, but it ain't me. And then you go over here and you run into your first wall and it's like, oh, maybe I should go back. And then you tail tucked between your legs and you go back and then you're miserable for the next 10 years. And then you finally get the nerve up to go do it again, or something to that effect. So yeah, it's interesting what that purpose will do, but then sometimes how that logic will, slap you around a little bit.
Yeah. How do you, when I was building my business, I was also at a 9 to 5 corporate job. And I found one of the challenges I had, because I was making good money doing something that I enjoyed, and I had to artificially or purposefully put the hunger in or find that passion, because it's so easy to be like, I'll get to it. For you, because you're running a business and a full-time plus job, how do you manage both energetically and time-wise, and keep the focus and not bring yourself back to being comfortable and being like, the 9 to 5's okay?
Yeah, it's an easy trap to fall into. The thing that does it for me is when I found myself getting lazy with building my business, because I'm like, I'm so busy, and everybody tells you how busy you are. And it's like, how do you keep all the plates spinning? And I've got a beautiful wife and 4 children, and all the stuff that goes in with that. So add that into the calendar for all the stuff that's going on, and being Uber drivers and assistant coaches and, meal prep and everything that goes into all of that. People are like, how do you do all those things? And it's easy to get lazy on, well, I've really got it pretty good. You start that, it's like, why you need to go do all this? And one of the things that worked for me is, I was interested in it. It appealed to me because of the freedom aspect, to be able to call my own shots, which I think is probably one of the biggest things for entrepreneurs, is that freedom. That freedom carrot is massive, and you get a taste of it. It's like, oh, I want some more of that. Yeah. But on the flip side, that freedom level of, I get that freedom. Well, I'm doing okay. If I just turned all this other stuff off and I just focus on this, man, that's pretty good spot to be in. And what did it for me is to identify what the passion part was. And some people think this is weird, but it really worked for me. I think Darren Hardy was the one that mentioned it, and it really made an impact on me, is find out what you hate. Find out what you cannot stand. And if you'll identify that, then chances are on the flip side of that, the opposite of that, the antonym, I think is what it is, you're going to find out what the thing is that's your passion. Because if you hate something, it means something's not being met in your core values of what you think things should go, your expectations of how that is based on your personality. So if you don't like something, like really, really don't like it, chances are the thing that's not being met is the thing that you're looking for. And that will help identify what that passion is because you can talk yourself into it. Humans are very adaptable. It's very easy. I mean, you look at people that have gone through, World War II concentration camps and wrote books about this stuff that were unbelievable to get into the mindset of what they went through. Humans can overcome just pretty much about anything. But what is the thing that keeps you going? When you identify that, and sometimes how you find that thing is looking at what you can't stand and then see what the other side of it is. And that for me really lit the fire. And it was like, I hate being told what to do by people that I don't respect. I'm an unbelievable follower if you're a leader. But if you're not a leader and you're going to tell me what to do, you want to talk about friction, and you want to talk about, lighter fluid, kerosene, jet fuel for my fire.
Yeah. I resonate with that. I have a friend of mine who's been an entrepreneur forever. I mean, I think I met him in his early 20s, and he still is. And one day I was talking with him, and he said, I'm unemployable. And I thought that was kind of funny. And then I started coaching, and I was still in my corporate job, and I was making some amazing progress with a couple of my clients. And I would listen to my clients and hear what they need, and I would adapt what I did to meet their needs to help them get where they want. And then I went back to my corporate job, and I had a manager give me advice on what to do, and he was coaching me to do something that had nothing to do with what my internal clients needed. And I thought, I don't give a crap what you're saying. And I went, oh my gosh, I just became unemployable. Because, you've got someone who wants to manage, and there's this whole concept, and I've taught this, and it is important. Leaders need to be coaches, but they also need to be coaches that people want to learn from. Like, just because you have a title doesn't mean I'm signing up for everything that you're doing. So, your story just reminded me of that.
Yeah, management and leadership are like freaking Grand Canyon of a chasm between the two things, man. And
Yeah.
it's funny how you don't use the word leader very often in corporate America. You've got managers and they're just trying to get through their day and with the least amount of hassle. And there's no thought of trying to make the organization, they have no concept of that. They're just simply trying to follow a process because somebody said so.
Yeah.
And that just, it's crazy. It's crazy how tough that is.
Well, one of the things I found in my coaching, and you might try this or maybe not in your corporate job, but have you ever asked a leader, how engaged are you actually? Because I found a lot of leaders, once you develop trust and talk with them, they're going to open up that they aren't engaged in their role anymore. They could very well be people like you who said, I want to be free, but I don't know where else I can work. So I'm here because it's the best thing. But their lack of engagement then turns into why their team isn't engaged. And of course, the leaders, the manager is trying to, so there's all sorts of things, but
that's a
give
good
that
one.
a try sometime.
I wrote that one down. I wrote that one down. That's a very good, what I love about having, conversations with people is everybody's got a certain way they're going. And it's funny because your RAS, your articulating activating system or whatever it is, pays attention when you're getting ready to buy a Tesla. There's 1,000 Teslas out there, right? When you're looking for these little nuances, it's just another way to be able to say it differently. And I find that you'll have an idea, but how you get that idea across is you need to be able to say it 8 different ways. Because you can keep saying the same thing, but if they ain't getting it because they got a different life experience and the words just aren't connecting. So you got to be able to say it in a different way. And so that's gold. That's absolute gold.
Well, you made me think of something I was thinking about asking earlier when you were saying, sometimes I don't know what I don't know, and then I need to try it and see if I like it or not. What's your system to be able to figure out things that you don't know?
My first way of going about it is I'm going to say, who is out there in the space that's a genius at this already and has already won. When I first came into this industry on the health and wellness side, and then I was with an energy company before that, I came in and I was fish out of water. I was like, this is not my jam. And I had a negative connotation to it, just, thinking about it. And I didn't really know enough about it. I had some past experiences through my parents that formed and shaped my viewpoint of something. And then my buddy asked me, he says, what do you know about it? And then I was like, well, I know I'm having a knee-jerk reaction based on my past. And he says, well, thanks for being honest. And, is that the way that you want to go about it? I was like, no, I should probably look into this. And so I looked into it. I was like, whoa, this, okay, different viewpoint of this. This is kind of checking some boxes for me. Let's do this thing. And so I got in and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I want to do this, but I don't know how. So who, like you said before, is the person I needed to, let me go to the top. And got into the top. Oh, just happens to be doing a big event about 2 weeks. Why don't I get in the car, drive 4 hours, spend a weekend and see what I can learn? On the way home, I'm like, dude, we've been doing it all wrong. I now know what to do, So if you can go to an event, that's going to be, to me, one of the fastest, quickest ways to be able to get something, because it's going to be very, very focused and specific in an area. If you can get what that syllabus is, that's a really great way to be able to get info. YouTube has been the greatest thing ever for that. You want to know how to, do anything. You want to change the battery in your Mercedes clicker. That's not an easy thing to do if you've never done it before, right? So go to YouTube, find that thing. There's a guy that sits there in 1 minute, 46 seconds. You now know everything you need to know about that. And then you move on with your day. The next one I would say is books. I'm a huge, I love books. The way my life is these days, I do audiobooks. Audible.com is like, I will be a member of that probably till they put me in the ground. Mm-hmm. So that is a great way to be able to get that information in as well. So that's my process of going through of, if this is something that is going to appeal. And even if I'm going to go out and hire somebody or I'm going to outsource that, I want to know enough so that I know if they're telling me something is complete BS or if they actually seem to know what they're talking about. And I want to know enough of the key things about it to be able to do that. Different personality types are going to be like, why even waste time doing that? Let's go get it done. But that's my process for going through it.
But what I'm hearing is just an intention to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And seeking to learn. And I think that's what is a key thing that makes someone from a manager to a leader, because leaders are always like, there's another level, there's more information from a book or a seminar so I love kind of hearing how you're doing.
Yeah, that's a heck of an observation, and a nice one as well, because it's funny is when we're younger, we're invincible, we're 8 foot tall, we're bulletproof, we know everything too. So as I get older, I realize how stupid I am every single day, and not in a bad way. It's like there's a lot of stuff out there. And the other thing that's done for me, especially in my corporate career, is as I've continued on, it's easy for us in a hierarchical society that I believe we're all in to look at somebody, and you mentioned it, just because you've got the title. Well, when we first start, since my kids are in the other room on their Zooms for school, sit down, shut up, don't talk to the person next to you, pay attention to this little screen on here, so that when you get into the corporate world, you'll sit down, shut up, and not ask questions, just do what you're told. And it's that factory mindset that we've had for so long. And it's interesting that when that's the case, that's just what's been beat into us, and we'll become docile little human beings. And every once in a while, one of us will just kind of, veer off from the herd, and it's like, I want to jump over this fence and go see what's over there. And then when you do that, you start learning, and then you start realizing all the people that you put up on a pedestal that were your leaders or your managers, they don't know a damn thing. I mean, they're just, one day older than you are in knowledge, and they happen to have a title, and then somehow everybody's cool with that. And that's been something that, again, I think it's probably my parents instilled that one in me, is, or they dealt with it, but question everything. I'm going to question everything. Just because you told me, that means next to nothing. That just informed me that there's something out there. Now I'm going to go investigate and see what I think about it. And having that drive to learn. And another thing that when you said that, it really triggered in me is I've seen leaders of large organizations where they'll come and somebody will say, hey, have you heard about this event or this course, or you would love this, it'd be great. It's like, why do I need to go to that course when I know what we need to do here? And it was like, dang, that's your mindset. You just open booked everybody on that one. And some people like, oh, he's such a genius. And other people are like, that doesn't fit. Right. And that means there's a lid on somebody. And if that's a lid on that person, it's going to be a lid on an organization.
Right. And asking better questions, does help to raise that lid. And you as a leader, it's you set those standards. And I think Brian has a great story, I think, with that one. With the lid.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a similar one. The same entrepreneur friend, he had a business that was doing $1 million every year, and it was like the top in their company. And he took some time and realized he was the lead, because he could have stayed at like $1 million and been celebrated in the top. But once he realized he could change his thinking, they got to $5 to $7 million within a year and kept it, because he recognized he was the lid. And
that is so cool.
Yeah. So I just thought that was a fun story, but I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard a podcast. When you do a podcast, means you love podcasts. Yeah. So we listened to them. I can't remember who brought up the statistic, but it really resonated with me. And they did a study of executives, VPs and above, and said the survey found only 6% actually felt prepared for the role they're in. And I just thought, so often, like you were saying, we elevate people. They're a VP. They must rock and roll at what they do. And they are just trying to figure it out and do their best. And that's why they need the teams. And that kind of ties into something I also extrapolated maybe from what you were saying. But a key thing for an entrepreneur in leadership is humility.
Yeah. You know, as you're saying that, I think about that often. Is it took me a while, and I'm being visited by the 2-year-old. So sorry
Sure.
for
Yeah.
the.
It's a family show.
Oh goodness. You know, I remembered I had a moment when I said to a group of people that were following me, I said, I want y'all to know I don't know everything. And it was one of the most liberating days ever. And you could see the connection that made with the team. They're like, holy crap, he's human, right? He's like us, you know. And there was such a change and shift in the people side of things and the culture because of that. And they realized that while I might not know everything, I might know more than they do, which is fine, right? But there's also going to be areas where I don't know. And it's one of the most powerful phrases to be able to say is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And be okay with it. Don't feel a sense of shame that you don't know, because I guarantee you, like that statistic says, I think that is a very accurate statistic, and maybe it's a little generous. I don't know.
And I
But
think it's a good thing, right? Is
it
that
is.
I find it that if you say that you do know everything, that probably keeps this company from growing.
It does.
Mhm.
It does. It means that, you know, something that, again, that on this, my own little journey here of a book that's just made a huge impact. And there's been a couple books that have been like just game changers. Like the train has come to a stop, made a 90-degree turn and went that way, you know, that type of change for me. And it's tribal leadership. And it is an amazing book that talks about that. And when you can get past a level 3 leader, which is egocentric and I know what's best for all of us, shut up, follow me, I'm taking us to the top of the mountain. Everybody goes through those stages, but then you'll get to a point where that's the lid, and we can only go up this mountain as fast as this guy that decided to grab the flag and go running up the hill first, which is great. God bless them, and let's do that. And a lot of organizations can do very well with that, and most organizations are in that type of you know, zone. But if you can get past that, and it takes that leader to have the epiphany that goes, holy crap, I don't have to know everything. I don't have to be the only person here. I can have all of these leaders that are following me, that are right behind me with their flags. They can be the people that run past me and go up, and I can chill for a second, grab my thoughts and let them run up, and I'll draft behind them for a little bit and be completely okay with that. But to do that, you got to get past your ego. You got to get past that hierarchical thing that, well, I'm the leader and because I said so, because that's what's been drilled in. So you got to have a major mind shift, and you got to have that aha moment. And when that happens, then you'll see an organization go from a 1 million to a 7 million. And because they, you know, for multiple reasons, but that one is absolutely going to be root to it all.
Well, these interviews always seem to go way too fast. I think we need to
We
do another
teleported.
one.
I just looked at the clock. It's like we have teleported through time.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we should rename the show the wormhole, because we go
I
through
like
there.
that.
But you want to share like maybe what's coming up next for you, and how can our audience find more from you? Because we want to hear more. I'm sure they will. So how can they follow what you're
Yeah,
doing?
absolutely. You know, the easiest way is I like having conversations. I really do. A lot of people want to just go read up and see a whole bunch of stuff. So I can do that. But my favorite is let's have a conversation, you know, 15 minutes, and you can really find out how somebody really ticks and find out what's going on with them. I'm a high tech guy, but I'm also a high touch guy. And so if you wanna find out more about what's going on with me, let's have a chat. That's honestly how I like to do it. People don't want to do that. I'm completely good with that too. But the best way is reach out to me at an email, Casey, CASEY at thejadefactory.com. So feel free to send that out. You can connect with me on Facebook. That's about the only social media I do. I'm on LinkedIn here and there, but Facebook's probably the best way to reach out. I don't put out a lot of content on there, but I love it from being able to use Messenger, as Kat knows. That's how we've been communicating. So that's the best way to catch up with me. I've got some video trainings that I've done, and I've got those sitting out on YouTube, but they're pretty specific to our area. So if you do a Google search for that, you might see some of those things. But best thing is have a conversation. And the big thing I tell everybody is don't go in with an expectation that you are know exactly what a person does. A lot of times as human beings, we're going to hear some information and we're going to try to put it in our file cabinet. And it's, oh, that sounds like this, so therefore that's what it is. If anything I've said today has resonated with you and you was like, man, that's a different way, just have a conversation. We'll talk and we'll find out what you're looking for and see if there might be something that I can help to help get you there.
Awesome.
Yes. As far as that's how to connect, some of the things coming up for us, we actually just had a new product has launched here just a couple of weeks ago. It's like I mentioned, we're in the health and wellness space, and got this new unbelievable meal replacement that's about $3.47 per meal. And it's a shake. You just, 2 scoops of this and off you go. It's been absolutely amazing. We've had so many people, having that for their breakfast and for their lunch, and then just doing whatever for their dinner. And it's only been out for a couple of weeks. Best story so far is 23 pounds in 23 days. For simply having that two times a day, and it tastes amazing. Everybody says that, but we've got a money back guarantee on ours. Taste it, try it. If you don't like it, send back the empty box, right? So, but we put our money where our mouth is. So that's been really exciting to see that jump in, and what our products do for helping people, just across the sphere. People don't eat worth a darn. We just don't do a good job of that, and most people don't know what to eat. So we're able to help with that, where we don't change eating habits. We just show you how to add on some real simple things, and it's been really great for the impact that it's done. So we love impacting people on the health side, wealth, time, significance. So if anybody's looking for an increase in any of those, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to have a chat with you.
And I could definitely see those meal replacements, because it's an entrepreneur who works a corporate job, and you've got family eating.
Ain't no time to eat.
Right. So maybe check Casey's stuff out, because that is going to just take one less decision out of your mind.
Absolutely. And giving you, and not just, getting you through, but giving you the things that your body truly needs at a level, and the purity of what we have, and the practices. It's the company that we're partnered with is founded by billionaires. They're past everybody's looking for success. After that, you look for significance, and they're playing at the significance level. So they're not even keeping score on the money side. So, it's really neat to see somebody do everything for the right reasons and not take a dime out of it. That's true when you've arrived, but you're doing it because it's a purpose, it's the passion, it's the mission. It's pretty neat to be a part of. It's really neat to be a part of.
Wow.
Well, it's been neat to be a part of this interview, Casey. We've enjoyed connecting with you. We want to invite our audience to, continue to watch us on YouTube or on your podcatcher of choice. We have a Facebook group where you can interact with other listeners and Kat and I. And we also have a Facebook page, just so if you want to see if there's updates. So thank you so much, everyone. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.